Welcome back to the shop, everybody. Nathan Wilson, Driving Dreams here in Central Florida. Wanted to share some kind of cool stuff with you guys. This is the stock radio from a 1964 Lincoln Continental. You can see the 64 stamped right there on the side. The only thing I changed really was that we made the gauge white, like we did with the clock and everything else, to match the Dakota digital gauges. But so the internals of this radio have been modified to be like modern and have Bluetooth and USB and voice commands and microphones and all that type of stuff. So I thought it was kind of neat, and just wanted to share with you guys. Much like the vintage air controls here, I just did a video on, got those all finished up. Trying to make the car as stock as possible, like looking, like kind of really retain a lot of the characteristics that make these cars so cool. I know that like it's a lot easier. Actually, you could just like tear this whole dash out. Like for instance, like this is the dash here, and we got the gauges in and stuff like that. Like to me, even the Dakota Digital is kind of like a lot of people might not like that because, and myself included, I really like the original gauges and everything. These are designed to look as close as they could get it, but still give you the reliability and the modern, digital, and the calibration and stuff like that. So, but we want to retain as much as we can of the stock look. So it would be a lot easier, to my point is, to just kind of do away with a lot of this old stuff and just, I've seen a few cars where guys just put a panel there and then they put like round gauges and, they just do it as simply as possible. So, and like with the vintage air controls, rather than try to make the original stock controls work, just, cut a hole in the dash and put those knobs that come with it. That's a hell of a lot easier than the stuff we're trying to do, like modifying the door lock switch to, go from vacuum to actually electric so that you can control some things. So this is just another example of that. So you're able to keep your completely stock look of the stock radio, but you have the modern technologies inside. So you can do this yourself, and I'm going to share, as the purpose of this video is to share that information with you guys. I know a lot of people try to like keep stuff to themselves and be the only person that can do this, but you can do it yourself, and these are the components that you would need. But as you can see here, we actually paid this guy here to do it. He did a great job. It works fine. We've already tested it all out. He did take a while. It was like probably 6 months to get it done, so plan ahead. But you can see right here, these are basically the components you use. I Googled them and looked them up. I've never done it myself, but I looked them up and, I kind of saw how you can do it. You got to be a little bit savvy. You can see how he's soldered in, to the factory controls and things, but there seem to be some tutorials online if you wanted to try it out, or you just pay that guy. I think it was like $600 and he converts it. Now I know it's not for everybody. You could go buy a decent, aftermarket radio for $500 or $600, maybe stick it in the glove box or something. But for the guys that are trying to keep that factory look, I just wanted to kind of share that with you. And then we're doing the typical like focal, and these are the K2 powers, the 4-inch focals. So these will go, these are going, actually this came out of one of my cars, and I'm just kind of using it to redesign. We're going to kind of, this is kind of a half-assed design that I did on my own personal car, but we're going to do this but make it more of an enclosure. And this goes, it mounts right there. As you can see, it kind of fits, actually that's upside down, but it fits in there and it goes behind that panel piece. So originally this car only had 2 speakers. Some of them even only had 1, but they had them in the back. So try to move slow here. So they had 1 back here in the back and then 1 in the top of the dash. So you can fit 2 4-inch speakers. Not sure if we're gonna go with these focals or these new Hertz that we got. These are basically the same ones that I had in my car, and they sounded great. So, but we may go with the focals just to keep everything the same. And then you can make custom kick panels for the 6.5. And then we got these bad boys here. This beautiful set here. Most people that do high-end car audio, you've got like Focal, Hertz, Morel. There's You know, some people like JL, and you know, I'm a fan of a lot of their stuff as well. We are using JL for the sub because, in my experience, the JLs kind of hit a little bit harder. They perform a little bit better. The focals, don't get me wrong, the focal subs are great and they're very crisp and accurate, and that's what people get focal for because of the accuracy and the quality of the sound reproduction. The JLs won't be quite as accurate, but they'll give you a little more bang for your buck and a little more punch. And then this is the amp. We decided to just go with a 5-channel amp instead of doing separates. Like in my car, I've got separate amps for the subs, but I have more subs. This is just going to be a little bit more mild. So this most likely, not sure if we're going to make a custom box. It was only 50 bucks more to get that sub with the box. So we went ahead and did that in case we end up just using it here, but we may make a custom enclosure here. In my, you saw in some of my other videos, the last couple of cars I did, I put the subs down here. We have the air ride stuff back here and the 2 tanks, and because of the way that's set up, you could run the air ride up there and the subs down here, but it's kind of either or. So we decided to run the sub up there and, like I said, make probably a pretty nice clean enclosure for it. And so just wanted to share some of that stuff. If you guys are working on kind of putting stereos in, and the main thing was to share this with you, what's going on with that radio. The other thing real quick, this is where the speakers go in the dash, on the top of the dash here. And the same thing, they came originally with one, I think it was a 5x9, might have been a 6x9, but I think it was like a weird 5x8 or 5x9. So those speakers really kind of suck. Even if you get modern ones, they don't really make decent ones. So you're better off doing the 2 4-inches. You just make a little enclosure like that, you know, that I did for that one. And that's, we might possibly put these there, but we may also put the 3-inch that come with this kit. This is a 3-way component. So it's got the 3-inch speakers, the 6.5s, and the tweeters. This was like 2,500 bucks, I think, and I know it kind of sounds a little bit crazy. It's a lot to pay just for, you know, basically one little small set of speakers. This is just going to be the 2 front channels here. They're components. If you guys are familiar with how component systems work, it separates, and you have 3 speakers there, but it's only the left and right front channels, and then we'll have the 2 smaller ones in the back, and we'll have some others as well. So just wanted to kind of share the setup with you and give you that information. So if you guys wanted to call that guy directly, he can do this for you. Or if you want to give it a shot and try it yourself, it doesn't look super complicated. This is just mounted in here. The only somewhat complicated part is, you know, the few wires that you're going to connect so that your factory knobs can control it. And I'll show you real quick. They have this button. So you see in the back here, it has a spot for the power button or the control button, a spot for the mic, and then a spot for an auxiliary input, as well as USB. So the auxiliary and the USB, they come out in something like this, which honestly nowadays, guys, I mean, this is kind of almost outdated as well. Most of the time you're just going to be using Bluetooth, but we'll probably, I'm not 100% sure if I'm even going to mount this, but we're going to be customizing the ashtray like I normally do and putting the air ride controls and stuff in there. So I should have room for this as well. And then this button, I just noticed this. I already went through all the trouble of customizing the original door lock button there, but I'm thinking I might actually mount this where the door lock button was originally. Just got to check and see what he wants to do, if he likes that look. If not, we'll probably hide this in the glove box as well. But this button controls like making the phone calls. You can do it by voice as well once you get it set up, but this is how you set everything up and scroll through because you obviously don't have the buttons on your stock radio to do that. It's a little bit complicated. It's like, you know, long press once, short press twice, and that opens, you know, setup mode and equalizers and all that. So it is a little bit complicated for the initial setup, but I think once you get it all set up, it does connect. I've already, like I said, I've wired it all up on the bench and tested it and hooked up Bluetooth, and I made sure that it does reconnect once you get in the car. It reconnects to the Bluetooth. So like I said, once you get it set up the initial time, it should be pretty simple, and you shouldn't have to mess with that button too much after that. And then you have a lot of controls on your amplifier as well. And then this is the little microphone setup that comes with it. So hope this video helps you guys and gives you some ideas for your builds, and we'll see you next time.